Hi everyone, Ronnie here. You're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where we talk you through cleaning your house. In today's episode, I am going to be talking again about cleaning the master bedroom. I know I did an episode on this fairly recently. However, it's been long enough that you may need to do it again. But don't tune me out if you're going to be working in a different area of your home. The reason I'm talking about the master bedroom is it's something that I need to work on like in the next day or so. So it's kind of weighing heavily on my mind and it's what I feel like talking about. But I'm also going to be talking about how we need to constantly change up our systems as our lifestyles change. So let's get right into the episode. Hopefully you have freshened up and feel ready to clean. Maybe you need to change into something more comfortable, run a brush through your hair, whatever makes you feel presentable. Now's the time to do that. You may also want to grab some cleaning supplies, something to dust with, whatever you would like to dust with in your master bedroom, because we're going to be clearing some surfaces and then you're going to want to dust those surfaces once they're cleared off. So obviously it could be a feather duster, it could be a damp rag, it could be a special dusting spray if you have fancy wood furniture, or it could be just a disinfecting wipe. I definitely like using wipes in my windowsills and on the baseboards. So just throwing that out there. You may not get to all of that if your room's a disaster. I get it. We're just going to make some serious progress in the master bedroom today. So once you've freshened up and gathered up your supplies, you might need to grab a broom or vacuum, but you probably do that final step after the show. Maybe put on some music and sweep or vacuum, depending if you have a hard floor or carpeting in your bedroom. But for now, hopefully I'm not going too fast. I'm heavily caffeinated right now. For now, you're going to want to make the bed. One reason why I often start with making the bed when I clean my room is it helps me build momentum. Right away, it makes the room look better. Even if you have things on the floor, cluttered surfaces, making the bed just does a lot as far as helping the room look more put together. So if you ever have having company, make the bed. You might have the instinct, if they're going to see your bedroom. Like, I'm not saying like company always goes in the master bedroom, but that thing where the bathroom's taken, like if you're having a lot of people over or whatever. But there are different scenarios where you might need someone to like use that back bathroom or something. So with that in mind, make the bed first, because that's what's going to make the biggest impact in the look of your bedroom. The other thing about making the bedroom, because you might be thinking, okay, nobody's coming over and really I just need to get this room picked up. The other reason that you would make the bed first is it gives you a staging area where you can put things, whether it be clean laundry or something else, to get things up off of the floor and organize into piles and whatnot. So it definitely helps with that. So be making your bed. If it takes you more than a couple minutes to make your bed and you're not really doing it on a regular basis, you may want to rethink your bedding, your pillows, stuffed animals you're piling on your bed, whatever. I'm kind of big on having, for like a kid's room, maybe you have stuffed animals in your room. No judgment here if that's what you're still into, but I'm being silly here. But I'm big on having a shelf for stuffed animals, like in a kid room. It keeps the dogs from chewing them up, and it also keeps them off the bed so that it's quicker to make the bed. Just a thought there. Basically, we have this really heavy, while you're making the bed, I'll just talk a little bit about bedding. We have this super heavy comforter. I did not pick it out. It was something my husband got. And it's so heavy that it has to be taken to the laundromat to clean. So it also kind of demands the need for a top sheet at all times. If you're not going to wash the comforter very often, there's that. And then if you have dogs that lay on your bed and one of your dog just kind of perpetually stinks no matter what, yeah, it's just kind of gross not to be able to wash your comforter. So I got a new one that is lighter weight and has kind of a satiny lining. So it basically eliminates the need for a top sheet, and it can easily go into the washing machine and just get washed. So just a thought there. We don't do a lot of extra pillows. We've got about 5 pillows on our bed, but we use all of them. So just a thought there. Yeah, I think I got my recent comforter at Big Lots, I want to say. I'm not sure. But anyway, moving on. It only takes a few minutes to make the bed. So now we're ready to really get into cleaning the bedroom. You're going to want to straighten it up. What we're going for is instant gratification, immediate results, and then we're going to go deeper after that. So you're going to want to pick up any misplaced items. And I'm being kind here by saying misplaced. Maybe you or your significant other just threw things on the floor. Okay? But things that are out of place might explain that a little better if that's the situation. So you're going to put any random items that don't belong in your bedroom in a pile. Okay? Remember the bed as a staging area? Some things do not belong in your bedroom at all. If you're like us, you kind of live in your bedroom a lot. We have a nice big bedroom, big screen TV, and we're just in there a lot. So the kids are in there with us a lot. So they bring things in and leave things there. So maybe you have some things that need to be kind of, put in a pile that are going to leave the room. But the point is, you don't want to just be running in and out of the room, putting things away, because that might get you sidetracked. We're just going to make a pile of things to be distributed throughout the house later. So make that pile. Maybe you're going to put them into a basket, box, or bag, or maybe it's just a pile on the bed. But they'll go into their respective homes later on. Okay. Now, you're going to want to focus on the floor first. Okay? We're doing the things that make the most impact. Obviously, making the bed makes the most impact. And then second is getting everything up off the floor. Your room's going to look a lot messier with items on the floor than it is if you just have cluttered nightstands and whatnot. So, but we are going to get to those. So let's get everything picked up off of the floor. We talked about things that don't even belong in the bedroom. What about dirty laundry? Let's get it to the hamper or the laundry room. Whatever you do with that. Let's get that picked up. You may have to leave the room if you want it. I mean, with us, I got these hampers, but they're so flimsy, they just fall over. So yeah, if I'm going to have a hamper in the master bedroom, I need to get a heavier, sturdier one. Not really in the budget right now, but the one I got is just a literal joke. So lately, I've been just gathering up dirty laundry and taking it right to the laundry room. So I do give you permission to leave the room for that if you don't have an adequate hamper. Actually, when I was using a laundry basket as a hamper, it was a lot better. So that's a cheap hamper alternative. But my kids are always like, Mom, can I take this laundry basket and whatever. So anyhow, let's see. I feel distracted because I think my husband's right outside the door. I don't like him listening to me record, but I digress. Let's keep going. Let's see here. You might need to pick up dirty clothes. What about clean clothes? Usually clean clothes are not thrown on the floor, but they could be draped over something. Draped over the foot of your bed, maybe. Everybody kind of has different things that they do with clean clothes that they're planning to wear again really soon. It could be draped over a chair or the foot of your bed, exercise bike or treadmill that you never use, playpen. Who has a playpen in their room? I do. For my grandson. So anyway, and it does end up with some laundry in it, not gonna lie. But yeah, get the floor picked up. Maybe shoes need to go into your closet. And this should be quick. Just picking up your floor. I mean, it should be a quick thing. What about trash? Maybe there's some trash. Um, let's move on because I feel like you can just throw things in a hamper real quick. And, if you have a ton of stuff to hang up, okay, maybe you won't get it done right now, but hopefully you only have a few things draped over objects in your room. So let's talk about your surfaces. In our bedroom, we have 2 matching nightstands that came with our bedroom set that was given to us. Long story, they're cute, they're rustic, but they're super small and they have the tiniest drawers. Okay, so the surface is small, and basically my husband and I, we each have one nightstand with a very small surface, a lamp that takes up a lot of it, and then a tiny drawer. But I'm a firm believer that, and I will give credit where credit is due. I got this from another podcast, Dana White of A Slob Comes Clean. She talks about the container concept. I'm a firm believer in this because I think some of us have a tendency to think like we need more storage space, and sometimes you do. Don't get me wrong. If you have a ridiculously tiny dresser and you need to upgrade to a bigger one, I get that. I'm not saying don't buy anything, but sometimes we need to just reduce the amount of items that we keep somewhere. And basically, the container is the limit. In this case, the container is the nightstand and the tiny drawer. So I'll talk about kind of what my solution is for it. But our nightstands typically have empty containers on them. I drink those bottled Starbucks. Lately, I've been bad about that. I mean, buying those bottled Starbucks mochas, the mocha frappuccino in the little bottle, I'm addicted to those. I mean, yes, I have a Keurig and I can make well, it's not a Keurig. I've broken like 3 Keurigs over the years and I'm down to like this cheap Betty Crocker one. But I have a K-Cup brewer for emergencies, we'll say. But I really love those bottled coffees. But the way I kind of justify drinking so many of those is like, well, a lot of people drive through Starbucks every day and the bottled ones are a little cheaper than the typical drink that you might be ordering at Starbucks. So keep that in mind if you're judging. But anyway, I typically have a couple of empties on my nightstand. So let's gather up trash from surfaces first, empty bottles. And if it's a lot, if there's a lot of trash in your room, maybe it's been a long time since you've cleaned your room. You might need to run to the kitchen or wherever you keep trash bags and get a huge trash bag or even a kitchen bag or maybe even just like a huge black Glad bag, whatever it takes. And, start putting trash in there. Another thing, speaking of containers that don't seem to accommodate all our things, we also each have a very small wastebasket next to our bed, and I am seriously considering upgrading to larger wastebaskets because having a wastebasket in a room is definitely a step in the right direction in keeping that room clean. Like, give your kids a wastebasket if you have kids. Have a wastebasket kind of discreetly in a corner of your living room. But unfortunately, the waste baskets I have were super tiny. I guess I was being cheap when I bought those, okay? So yeah, those I need to upgrade. But the tiny drawer, I need to just limit what goes in the drawer, the tiny bedside drawer. In fact, it's so funny. Be clearing surfaces. Could be nightstands, could be a TV stand. We have this thing that's called a buffet, I want to say, and we bought it years ago when our son was a baby, my youngest son was a baby, and it's designed to go like on the side of a dining room, like a sideboard table with drawers in it. At some point I used it as part of a coffee station when I had a formal dining room. And, I put my Keurig on top and supplies in the drawer, and it was super cool. But now that is one of the dressers in our bedroom. Remember when I said if your dresser's too small, like it's okay to get another one? Well, that became my husband's dresser. I can't share my dresser with him because I don't have room. So he has that, but it's kind of a low, long piece of furniture, and our TV sits on top of that. So, anyway, that's one of the surfaces in my room that needs to be cleared. The other dresser, it's more of a tall chest of drawers where I keep my clothing. Be clearing your surfaces while I ramble, okay? There's a printer on top, so there's not a lot of empty space, but still random things get stuck behind the printer. So if I was cleaning my room right now, those would need to get dealt with, those random items, whatever is up there. I wanted to record this episode in my room so I could literally tell you what's on the surfaces, but it's just not practical right now. It's not quiet enough. Right now I am in my recording studio. Hopefully the sound comes out good, because this is the first time I've done this, but I am recording this from the bathroom of my RV, and I feel like it's good acoustics in here, so I feel like it's a good spot. So yeah, clear those surfaces. But what I was going to say is, since those are not really adequate, our nightstands are not really adequate for everything that we do in our room, I also have another little narrow table that's along the side of the wall, and to put things on. I know it doesn't sound that organized, but I need to get some cute storage boxes. I have at least one of those, but I want to get more. I'm really big on cute storage boxes, as long as you're organized and you're putting things, by category. What you don't want to have when you're organizing is these piles of miscellaneous items. When you move, sometimes like that last box you pack is just miscellaneous, and there's no rhyme or reason for what goes in there. It's just like, okay, the moving truck's going to be here soon, and we're just throwing things into the boxes at this point. The first boxes were really organized, and then there's those last miscellaneous boxes, and then they end up like sitting in the garage or in a closet for like years, and you never unpack them. Yeah, let's avoid that. Let's not have these miscellaneous boxes. If you have those, you're going to want to take the time at some point to go through and sort through that stuff. And it's kind of liberating. And if you are in that situation, like maybe you've already straightened up your room, there's hardly anything, and you're like down to like a miscellaneous box in your closet. Okay, let's talk about that. And no judgment here if you're just still cleaning up surfaces, but obviously you're going to wipe down the surfaces once you remove clutter with whatever you use to dust. And don't forget about your windowsills, maybe dust your ceiling fan, whatever needs to be done. Be cleaning your room. But let's go on a rabbit trail about these miscellaneous boxes. Sometimes you go through them and you'll be reluctant to get rid of anything in the box, but you haven't used anything in that box for literally years. And time marches on. The other day, confession time, I like to get these little plastic dressers, I call them, but with the little drawers, these little storage solutions you probably find at Walmart or whatever. I have this little desktop dresser thing with these little drawers, and I can't even remember what I found in it. But I opened the drawers and there were things in there from a long time ago, like paperwork that just is no longer relevant, nothing I needed to save. And I was just thinking, like, I haven't opened this thing in years. Like, why don't I throw all this stuff away and put this on my desk and start using this container? So speaking of not just buying new containers for your expanding collection of items, how about cleaning out some of these storage containers you have so that you can use them for things that you still need and use? So just a thought there. Let's talk about desks. Funny thing, sometimes my husband will call and ask me to maybe read to him something that he jotted down on a little notepad, or check if his wallet is somewhere or whatever. But he'll be like, yeah, it's on my desk. And by his desk, he's talking about that tiny nightstand. So maybe you need a desk, and not everybody has a working functional desk. I work from home, so during the interview process, when I was changing jobs a while back, I was doing kind of a contract freelance type thing that wasn't really like an actual like hourly job. And when I started interviewing for those types of positions, I created a workstation and I got a desk and set it up in the corner of my room. And they say, like, don't do anything in your room except like sleep or whatever, other stuff you do in the bedroom. They say not to have like your office because could make you think about work or whatever. But that's not the case in this situation, because this isn't a desk that's like right beside my bed or anything. This is in a different corner of the room. It's a large room. And I created this workstation, and those of you who work remotely might appreciate this part. Be cleaning your bedroom, whatever needs to be done, obviously. Put everything where it goes, wipe the surfaces, and then sweep and vacuum at the end. But, maybe I'm giving you time to sort through a miscellaneous box or a drawer, organize a drawer or something. Maybe that drawer in your nightstand is too full of stuff and you need to get rid of some stuff or relocate some stuff. Or maybe you can be redistributing at this point. Don't forget, before the episode is over, to redistribute items throughout the house that didn't belong in your bedroom to begin with. But anyway, I created this workstation, and the way I set it up was so that there would be a wall behind me. If you work remotely, you know about this, the Zoom meetings. It's always interesting to see different people's backgrounds. Some people you can see like into their house. And, in one article I read, it was like, have some space and some depth behind you. Like you were supposed to just give them this view into your home. But when you have kids and a husband that might need to walk behind you at some point, my solution for that, have a wall behind you. Because then, like, nobody is ever going to need to walk behind you during a meeting. You're never going to have to clean your house before a meeting. You just pop into your desk and there's your little staged background exactly as you left it. You can hang exactly what you want on the wall behind you and, create the exact image that you want without, showing them everything that's going on. Your dog walking by, your kid walking by, whatever. So anyway, and the thing that's so great about the desk, it has like these raised shelves to where I can put the computer at a higher level to get it at that perfect angle during the meetings, and then it goes down on the main part when I'm working at the desk. Do I sit at the desk all day when I work? No, I work on a laptop, and I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have about 4 different workstations. Well, 5 if you count the kitchen, which I don't do very often, but I like to move around. Like, I'll work in 2-hour spurts. This may not apply to any of you, but nowadays a lot of people are working remotely. I work in these 2-hour spurts because obviously, like, you get a break every 2 hours. Typically, you have like your 10 or 15 minute break, you have your lunch, and so on. So what I do is I like to change locations after a break. Not every time, but it feels good and it keeps my back from hurting. But when there's a meeting, I usually pop into that desk. I do have a secondary meeting spot out in the RV. But anyway, what I'm talking about with the desk is I've learned that if there's something that I need to deal with, a bill I need to pay, whatever, it's convenient to put it on that desk. So if you kind of live in your bedroom a lot, like we do, that nightstand might not be adequate. You might need other surfaces, including a desk. Even if you don't work at home and you don't, or you don't do a job that, requires a desk or whatever, it's just such a good home base to have a desk. Like, hey, go put that on my desk, Anyway, love having a desk in my bedroom. You may disagree, but I love it. And I did try, when I first started the job, more talk of remote work, be working on your room, but probably time to redistribute because we're going to be wrapping this episode up in about 5 minutes. So redistribute everything and prepare to, make sure your room is vacuum ready. That's what I tell the kids, like, I want this room vacuum ready, because then they pick up all the little stuff that they maybe were going to leave on the floor. So get your room vacuum ready. Anyway, don't mean to bark out orders. So anyway, remote work. What was I saying about remote work? Oh well, somehow I lost my train of thought of where I was going with that. But another tip for remote work, um, you want to get up and move around anyway. So if you have dishes in your sink or dishes in your kitchen, definitely do your dishes on your lunch break. It's something I do a lot of the time. Working remotely, it gets me moving. Obviously, in a perfect world, I'd be out in the sunshine going for a walk. But sometimes, as moms, we're trying to hold our heads above water. If you're not a mom, the show is still for you. Don't get me wrong. But as a mom, I'm trying to hold my head above water sometimes. And sometimes I end up doing dishes during that break. And it doesn't sound like a break, but when you're sitting at a computer, staring at a computer, it kind of is a break. So, anyway, yeah. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. I had the desk in my living room, which sounds a little strange, but when I first started the job, I was having internet problems. And when I was interviewing for another position, this lady was like, your internet's cutting out. And if that happens in the next interview, they won't hire you. Like, she was really stern with me. That's not the job I ended up getting, but it kind of freaked me out. Like, oh, I don't want this to happen at my new job. So I got a computer that had an Ethernet port, and I plugged in the Ethernet, and that made me have to be in the living room, just based on our limitations with our equipment and everything. So I was doing my Zoom meetings in the living room, and I kind of hated the way the desk looked, and I had to keep it completely cleared off. And yeah, it was weird because if you guys have been listening to my show for a while, like you walk right into my living room. So then there was a desk. I don't like that. So anyway, the good news is my husband kept calling and complaining to our, I guess you could say, cable company. We don't have cable channels, but we have Wi-Fi. He kept calling the company complaining, and they hadn't really done anything about this before, but he got them to send us these boosters. So he put one booster out in the RV and one in our bedroom. So now I'm next to a booster. So it's still my emergency plan if the internet is really bad and I need to plug into the Ethernet cable rather than doing Wi-Fi. In a pinch, I can go do a Zoom meeting in the living room without a desk. I can, just whatever. I can set my computer on the TV stand. But now that we've got our internet situation taken care of, I can have that desk in the bedroom, which I'm happy with. So anyway, speaking of work, I am about to start my day. I'll probably edit this on my lunch break instead of doing dishes. But that's okay because I did dishes last night. I'm really big on doing dishes at night. It definitely helps you have a better day when you're starting fresh. So try to run your dishwasher at night, especially if you have a dishwasher. Only takes a few minutes, and the payoff is amazing when you wake up to a house that is maybe not perfectly clean, but very functional. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I know Jessica mentioned the website, cleanwithmepodcast.com. I promise I'm going to add some new written content over there very, very soon. I've just been kind of busy, but we're trying to produce more episodes and more content. And so, yeah, it's going to get better and better. Thanks for bearing with us on the days where we don't record. I appreciate every one of you. Special thanks to our subscribers. But most of all, everyone's a subscriber, I guess. Be sure to subscribe. But special thanks to our financial supporters. But most of all, just keep listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.